enthusiasts, and today we're looking at the 2014 Mercedes Benz GLK450. This is the 4Matic all-wheel drive. We're going to do an in-depth review, check out the interior, and take it for a test drive. Stay tuned.
The GL450 is powered by a 4.7-liter V8 engine that produces 362 horsepower. It makes 14 miles to the gallon in the city and 19 on the highway. The curb weight is 5,401 pounds. The 2014 offers advanced safety features, seating for 7, and 21-inch rims. This SUV is the epitome of a luxury vehicle. It is one of the top of its class and has many features that cannot be found elsewhere. With a relatively hefty price tag, this sporty, aggressive, and comfortable four-wheel drive vehicle can be yours. Trunk space was incredible. The seats go down to open up a massive storage space. It is an attractive trunk as well and offers efficient organizational features.
Sitting in the interior, as you can see when I got in, this is a tight interior. This is one of the tightest back seats for an SUV that I have been in. There's a massive amount of space up front, but back here you can really tell that they skimped back here to get that front space. It's an attractive back seat. I get to see a lot. It's a really attractive outlay. There's a lot of viewing up here. There's a double moonroof. As for the seats themselves, they're pretty comfortable. They hug me from the sides. The back is there's a very tall back, and there's a very low angle there. It's very close to 90 degrees. And my knees don't exactly have a ton of room. I can't really move side to side here. So I think they did a really good job making comfortable back seats. They just skimped on the space. Okay, for the steering wheel. The steering wheel's really nice. It's got a really nice leather wrap with really nice light tone stitching. It has a fair amount of buttons, but they're easy to use. I really like this chrome badge in the centerpiece. There's also this chrome lining that's really attractive. The gauges are also really attractive. They're incredibly sporty. The ticks are tight. They're very tight up here, but they're sporty, attractive wheels. They're easy to use. Gauges, they're easy to use. And altogether, I like the system. As for the center console, there's a really nice tucked-in screen here. It has a hood. I really like this screen. And it's got just a great display here. If you look down, there's these two air vents. They're very attractive. They're very large. They're a little bit surprising, but they're easy to use, easy to turn, very ergonomic. And further down, the actual system itself, there's a lot of buttons here, but they're very high quality, easy to use. Mercedes did a very good job engineering something that was very much designed for consumer use. As for interior space, the side door, there's not a lot of space. It's pretty good. It's if you have to put paperwork in here or just like odds and ends type of thing, but it is a very hard plastic, and there's not a lot of wiggle room, and it is pretty deep. Moving forward, there's some cargo netting over on the side. You can't really see it, but cargo netting for anything you need to put in there. The glove compartment is pretty good. It has a lower opening spot here, kind of like a bucket, and then it's got your main spot where you can put your paperwork and all that stuff. It's okay for the type of car that it's being an SUV. It's actually pretty small. Moving forward, right in front of the center console, there's some odds and ends space here. Put your phone, your iPod, and then there's like an ashtray. You don't see that very much with cars anymore, but there you go. Cup holders are nice. They're leveled. I really like this. Obviously, the top is a smaller cup holder. The bottom's a larger. I do like this. All right, for the center armrest compartment, there's a button on either side. I'm gonna press the one on this side, and it opens up side by side. As for size, it's pretty small for an SUV. It's definitely not bad. It's relatively deep and it's relatively wide. I don't exactly like the way this opens because you can't really put your arm on it, but overall it's decent space. All right, overall comfort in this car, you know, I'm really liking it. As a driver, it's a very attractive car. It's kind of got a boxy feel on the front windshield and around me, but there's a lot of room. There's an incredible amount of headroom, so much headroom, a lot of leg room. It's really an open design for the front two people. The back, like before, you know, it's tight. Again, it's a little boxy. I kind of feel like I'm almost like in a Humvee. I've only sat in a Humvee in like a museum, but I have that kind of feeling. We're gonna take it for a drive. Let's see what it does. Okay, right off the bat, rolling. The idle speed is pretty good for an SUV. I'm definitely happy with that. I always hate cars that don't have a good idle speed. You know, it's like kind of a bummer. Yeah, it has a great idle speed, driving it around. As for bumps, we're hitting a few hot potholes in the dealership, and it's doing pretty well. It's passing my test. Let's see what it can do out on the road. All right, we're coming to a straightaway. We're gonna see what it can do. Give it a little bit of gas out of the straightaway here. You know, it's got some pretty good pickup. As for an SUV, it was just a really small straightaway. We're gonna do something a little bit later. But for an SUV of this size, you know, I'm already surprised. It definitely has some power under the engine. Overall feel is pretty good as well. I feel very comfortable in this car. I could spend lots of time in this car. I do like the digital speedometer. You know, that's very common, but it's a really attractive font and everything. You know, font does matter. Everyone, you know, says that, like, the little things, like, I cannot stand Mustang fonts. But again, font does matter. So overall drive, let's get back to this car. The feeling of the road is pretty good. It's just the right amount of dulled out feel. I'm hitting a few holes. You know, the car takes them very well. It's definitely designed for the best comfort for the driver and its passengers. You know, braking, again, like I said before, braking is tight. It's very much, you press the brake and it starts stopping you quickly. And you're not expecting it until you're right up there and doing it. As for visibility is a little bit touchy here. You know, I'm looking to get into this rotary and I have to look around, and there's this huge just chunk of car right next to me, and I can barely see. I actually have to lean forward and look around it. I think that's a big downside that I just found out. It just goes to show that, you know, you should test drive every car you get into, just because you're gonna find something new about it. I'm going around this rotary right now, and the handling feel is actually really good. It's a very balanced car. If I didn't know that I was in an SUV, I probably wouldn't guess that I'm in an SUV. This is a more balanced car than a lot of the sedans that I've been in. It's even comparable to some of the coupes with more tuned suspensions. You know, this does have a sport tuned suspension, and it's an SUV. It's a heavy car. But overall, the handling is really good. I'm doing a lot of little turns here at a pretty high speed, and the car is just pleasing me. It's very much surprising me. I didn't expect this from this car. It's just a nice feeling. So we're coming up to a straightaway. We're going from like 30 to 60 here, and it definitely has some pickup. You can really feel the power behind that engine. Nice sound. It's a well-balanced sound between the exhaust and the engine. You know, I think it's safe to say that if you want to, you know, if you're getting an SUV and you really want a little bit of thrill there, you can floor this car and definitely get that thrill. You know, just stepping on the gas there, it satisfied that need for it to go fast. As for passing people and getting to highways, this car would not be hard to, you know, do all that. I would not be worried if I was getting onto the highway if I needed to go. Just a quick thing, you know, the turn signal is actually, the actual knob for the turn signal is really short. You know, it's really short. I wouldn't have thought that would bother me until it bothers me. It's just one of those things that you just kind of do, like, learn as you're going. It does bother me. It's hard to get my finger around it. I actually have to put my hand around the car. We're coming up to our last straightaway here. We're gonna give it a little gas. Yeah, it's got some pickup. This thing is moving. It takes a second to catch there, but then it gets going, and that's a lot of fun. I have to say, that is a lot of fun. It very much shocks me every time I do it. It kind of puts me in the back of my seat, especially for an SUV. I do not get into this car and think like that I'm gonna move like that. For overall comfort, you know, the seats really hug me really well, and you know, the steering wheel is nice. Some cars you feel like labored, your arms hurt. It's easy to hold. It's got a great, you know, the steering wheel really, like, you can move the steering wheel around. It's really designed for driver comfort. I'm very comfortable in this car. More comfortable than I thought. You know, initially when I sat in it, I was like, you know, it's tight, it's boxy. It's like, I don't know. I'm very surprised with how comfortable I am with this car. I'm really impressed with what Mercedes has done. You know, this is the first review I've done with a Mercedes SUV, and they're really shocking me. I really think, you know, this could be the next step to the SUV game. It's very much comparable to the BMW SUVs, the Audi SUVs. This might just be better than the ones that we've reviewed, and I'm impressed. I can't wait to get out and do more.